Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at the high-grade Gundam 00 Command Quanta Desert Type from Gundam Build Metaverse. If you want one of your own, you can get yours exactly where I got mine, and that is through those awesome people over at HobbyLink Japan. So when it comes to the build of the high-grade Gundam 00 Command Quanta Desert Type, you might be having a little bit of deja vu here. Not only is this kit based on 2010's 00 Quanta, which means it does have some old school aspects, especially towards its core. Well, it's also based on a kit that came out a couple of years ago, which was the standard green version of the Gundam 00 Command Quanta. So yeah, in essence, this kit right here is just a recolor of that. We had the army green, now we have that desert army sandy color. It's a relatively simple build. This is heavily based on polycaps, and we do have 7 runners, 3 of which are very, very small. I've said this a lot about kits lately though, there really is a lot of recycled parts. The build itself really isn't that interesting, but the payoff in the end is pretty good. For the most part, the build is very generic for older style high grade. All the parts just build up on top of each other, nothing is coming through from inside. We have some nice detailing on the torso, and the new Command Quant, well, new for the standard Command Quant, recycled in this one, those new parts do look stellar with those cool little recessed armored aspects. Some of the cool leftover aspects of the 00 Quanta are present here, so we do have some of the GN condensers. These comprise of a sticker on the inside, this time in a kind of pinkish red, and some nice clear pinkish red clear parts that pop on top of that. Overall though, a simple build, you'll get it done pretty quick, but in the end it does look incredibly good. I'll also mention the head on the Command Quanta, both versions, this one and the green one, are brand new for those kits, and it's a pretty cool head. I'll talk a bit more about that later on. The weapons in here are interesting as well. A lot of them do recycle some parts in a very nice sort of way from the original 00 Quanta, so that does mean you use some of the arms from the backpack and shoulder weaponry, some of the blades from the Quanta's blades, this time in a kind of funny floppy grey as opposed to that crystal green, but all now with a really cool militaristic flair, like this kit has in bucket loads. And there we go, there is the desert version of the 00 Command Quanta in all of its glory. So first off, as usual, I'm just going to be popping off all of that pretty awesome equipment, just so we can take a quick peek at the actual Gundam 00 Quanta itself. I think I'll leave this stuff up in the backpack though. So jumping into that full 360-degree spin, just to have a look at every angle on this for yourself so you can see whether or not you like it. This is it straight built, nothing has been panel lined, nothing has been changed at all, and it's just been double snipped off the runners and snapped together. As simple as it gets. This is exactly what you will get out of box. Once again, it is physically identical to what we would have seen with the green Command Quanta. This time around, it's just in a nice desert camo, which kind of gives it a little bit of an almost kind of latte-ish kind of feel. It's got multiple shades in here, which is very, very nice. We've got the standard armor, which is in a very nice shade of beige. Then we've got a little bit of a darker shade on the heavier armor segments, and then we have some lighter shades with an almost, I don't know, tweaked towards bluey, greeny kind of hue on the chest, as well as down on those ankle armors. Overall, this does look great. The yellow pops very nicely against it, and the head on this does look incredible. One minor complaint about the head on this, but otherwise it's been nicely designed, and I've never really seen a head color scheme anything like this before. So yeah, jumping into that one little thing that I said on the head that is a little bit, I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad thing, honestly. So if you take a look at this right here, you'll notice that we do have stickers on the eyes. That is in that nice reddish pink color, which is on all the kind of lensy aspects all over this kit. But if you see up there on the head section, in the actual manual, these are glowing like they are lenses, just like the eyes. On the kit, we do not have that, but I will also mention, we also do have this one anime image of it right here as well, and they're not glowing. So I guess these only glow at certain times, but there is no option to have them do that. Not a big deal, but there is some extremely nice molded detail inside of those. Actually, the head overall is very nice. And speaking of the head, because it is absolutely brand new for this kit, it does mean on the runners we do have the Quanta head as well. So if you want to do some kind of hybrid, or maybe an early prototype version or something similar, you can just pop on the Quanta head just like so, and that is what it looks like. It actually shows just how bulky this particular kit has gotten compared to your standard Quanta, because that head looks a little bit small up there. But yeah, pretty much everything we're seeing right here is exactly what we would have seen before, just color swapped. But that isn't necessarily a bad thing. If you've always wanted yourself a command style Gundam with a more desert kind of flair, this is it. The combination of the yellow and the nice, shiny, beautiful, eye-catching red really does kind of mesh extremely nicely with that desert camo. It's bulky in all the right places, narrow in all the right places, and it's just a cool looking Gundam. Even though it is somewhat built on older tech, the new parts really do shine through. Finally, on to a little bit of a size comparison. There it is side by side with the high-grade RX-78-2 Revive and the Beyond Global, high-grade Gundam Mark II and high-grade Zeta 0088, high-grade Freedom, and the high-grade Jewel Blitz. So jumping into the accessories, and here's everything that comes with the high-grade Gundam 00 Command Quanta Desert type. So this is the usual Gundam loadout of sword, board, and beam rifle. The sword being this absolutely cool sword, the board being this ridiculously awesome shield, and this very nice beam rifle. On top of all of that then, we do also have one widespread left hand, which is always a very nice bonus. So first up, when it does come to the hands, these are the standard kind of holding hands we see all of the time for the left and the right, and we do have one spare in here. Again, these are the kind of type of hands that look like they're holding onto a handle when there isn't actually a handle in there, which, you know, you may or may not care about too much. The alternate hand in here is a widespread open hand straight from the 2010 Quanta. Swapping it out is the usual ball joint routine, so you just pop it out like that, reattach it in like so. Is this one of those kits that has that extra? It is! Extra little bit of articulation right here, which is always extremely, extremely nice. And that right there is a little bit of an example of what it looks like when it's attached. Always nice to get. The first of the weapons we get in here is the command sword, which you can tell from the blade and this little aspect right here that this is heavily based off of the GN Sword 5 from the Quanta this kit is based on. Now, I will mention this got mildly butchered when I was cutting it out, and it's because a lot of the older kits like Quanta have a much harder, odder kind of plastic to the various parts that don't really kind of clean up as nicely or almost as kind of waxy, I'd almost say, as some modern kits. So be very careful when cleaning and cutting out parts off of the Quanta runners. This attaches into the hand in the usual way, just slides on in, simple. Getting the kit into a little bit of a pose with the command sword just so you can see kind of what it looks like in action. And I will mention this kit does feel very, very spongy, a little bit awkward, and a lot of the parts, especially around the waist, make it quite tough to pose. This is all general hangovers from the Quanta itself, as well as just kind of the Build Diver's way of building stuff onto an older kit. Not the worst, but definitely not the best, and there is what it looks like in a bit of a pose. When the weapon is not in use, it just slides out the exact same way it slides in, and we've got this little bit of an attachment point around back just here, and that just clips in with a simple peg. This does move with it, so you can keep it out of the way while posing, and you've got a little bit of side-to-side wiggle as well. Next up in here, we've got the heavy machine gun. This is a very cool weapon, definitely. Extremely simple, as you can see. There's not a whole lot of real detail on the weapon per se. This little section up here is that little unit that's usually up in the Quanta's shield up on its left-hand shoulder. We do have a little bit of a blade here, which is from one of the green blade sections from the Quanta. And around back here is the little part that attaches into the forearm, along with the handle for that nice Gundam 00 2-point attachment. Getting it attached into the hand is the age-old routine of just sticking it in the hand from the top down. Simple as that right there. Grabbing a bit of an action base to get it up in the air. Throwing it up on a stand involves removing one of those little privacy holes to expose that crotch hole. Then you just stick it on like so in the usual kind of way. It holds up fine. Getting this into a pose, like I mentioned, is a bit spongy. It's a little bit awkward and not the most, well, let's just say the framework in here doesn't feel the greatest to pose something with. But I will say in the end, the payoff is fantastic. This is a fantastic looking Gundam with one kick-ass looking rifle. So it does finally, well, it may not feel great to do it, but what you get in the end, it looks good. When the rifle is not in use, just pop it out of the hands just like so. The handle on this, funnily enough, just shoves on into the backpack like this, and that is how it is stored. It's stored at a nice angle that is pointing out to the back, so pretty cool storage, and it looks nice on here too. The last piece of equipment we have in here is the arms shield. This has a cannon round on the bottom right here, which is very nicely designed. This is extremely nicely color separated as well, with some nice aspects to it. So it attaches onto the arm, with these two parts again, very 00 style. And we do have two removable combat knives on the sides, once again reusing some aspects from the Quanta. These would have been green blade sections, but now they're in that kind of soft, rubbery grey. The knives can be held in the hand in the normal way. I'm just going to test out reverse grip because that's always fun, especially with a knife. Looking pretty badass. And as for the shield, it just attaches onto this segment on the arm. Of course, you can pop the handle into the hand too. I'm just going to try it out. With the widespread hand, it should work. If I can get past all the everything. Oh, maybe it's not going to work with that hand. Yeah, not working out. Sometimes with these kits, you're actually able to just use the widespread hand and just have it not hold onto the handle, but it kind of clashes with it, gets in the way a bit. Let's see. Oh yeah, that just absolutely just fits perfectly with the standard hand, and that right there is what it looks like attached. That's a nice chunky shield. Grab the blade section, and that just stores on the side of the shield just like so. Having a nice bladed shield is great for some counterattacks like it mentions in the instructions, and of course there is a large caliber cannon on the bottom too. So if it's holding onto this in one arm, the machine gun in another arm, it's got two long-range weapons going at once, and that is badass. So finally now onto the articulation. I'm not going to go through absolutely everything on it because this kit right here is just a recolor of one I would have taken a look at a couple of years ago, so you can check out that review to see more. But anyway, yeah, this right here is very spongy. There's a lot of kind of looseness to some of the polycap aspects, and those things are not really going to get too much better in time. Actually, the only thing that's kind of weird is the hip section right here. Everything else feels kind of normal enough. All around here, though, that's absolute ass as well, because things just get in the way. And these guys right here, these are barely hanging on. Anyway, normal pose time. So yeah, the articulation on the command Quant right here, it's okay, it's not great. It will get you basic poses that will pretty much always look good, because the kind of new command design on top of this Quanta really does make it look awesome. And if I'm not mistaken, the actual high-grade Quanta is a decent kit to actually have built upon. So that right there is what it is like. It doesn't get too deep, but definitely does look good. Every various aspect does have a nice bit of articulation to it, so what you get in the end is pretty much par for a high-grade kit. Nothing too special, but it will definitely do the job. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and this to me is a silver tier kit. Now I will mention that the original Command Quanta did get gold tier. Now this is no worse, this is exactly 100% the same, it's just a lot of time has passed and so many kits have come out there just so much better than what we're seeing right here. This is definitely a cool kit with a cool design. I would actually love to really see a high grade Command Gundam, as in that little SD guy that looks like this, that in full Gundam scale, in brand new plastic on plastic, full high grade realization. That would be great. But yeah, as for this kit right here, aesthetically this is very nice. It's the cool command aspects on the awesomeness that is the Quanta, brand new head and a lot of nice equipment, and the heavy armor looks great. We do have stickers for some grey aspects on the feet that I forgot to mention, but otherwise the colors are great. When it comes to the accessories in here, they're all really fun. They're variants of the Quanta's weapons and they're all done quite well. We do have a kind of rubbery plastic for the effect parts, that's probably so kids don't put their eyes out, but it doesn't look or feel so awesome. But overall, weapons in here are unique and cool. When it comes to the articulation and the build quality, it's very basic, old school high grade, but it does old school high grade incredibly well. It is a little bit loose and janky around the hips and the waist unit, but it could be a whole lot worse and will pull off most poses that you'd like it to. And it seems to hold them too, which is always good. But yeah, if you do want one of your own, I got mine through Hobby Link Japan. Link is down there in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. As always, I can't finish this video without special thanks to those who support the channel on the memberships as well as over on Patreon, including Abraxas, Caleb Engelhart, Joe, Orgy59061, Shadowwolf179, 10 Soldier YT, and Van Fawn.